So anyway, very good. So today we are going to work on a couple of skills and practice them. And I'm also going to share with you what are some of the pronunciation interference of our native language, Spanish, for English, because you're already, from years, obviously, of experience, we know what are the sounds that most probably you're going to find that you need to correct during the training sessions, the tutoring sessions. So we're going to give you some techniques into how to correct them, how to help your students produce the sounds. And we'll talk a little bit about that, about phonology and how different languages have different interferences, obviously. Okay, very good. So I'm going to start sharing my content, and the first my screen. And the first thing we're going to talk about is okay, so we're going to talk about modeling. Modeling, as it says here, it's the most important skill in the field of language teaching. We are models to our students. They are always going to be listening to us as to how they're supposed to produce the language. So a model, linguistically speaking, is called an informant. And the objectives of an informant or of this skill is to give students a good spoken model of the target language. And a lot of us here in this group, English is not our native language, but we have neutralized our accent enough that we can be good models for our students. And it's our responsibility to know some skills as to how to model and how to be a good model to our students. So these are the skills that we're going to work on today. And I'm going to switch to this other one, okay? And these are, and I'll share this document with you all too. But these are some of the things we need to keep in mind. We need to project our voice to the whole class. So obviously right now we will be through this type of media, but it goes the same in the sense that we need to be loud and clear and retain native speaking rate, intonation, stress, and juncture. And we'll talk a little bit about those later on. So it will be important for you definitely to have your camera on so that students can see you produce the sounds, and you need to produce them in the most clear way possible. Then, which is the next one, let your students see you at all time. So in this case, it's talking in a classroom setting. Do not go back and forth. Don't go between aisles while modeling, and don't hide your face behind the textbook, which also goes in the, in this type of sessions where we could be like right now, like I'm doing, like right now you cannot see me, but if I were to model vocabulary, or I would be correcting your pronunciation, I definitely would have to stop this presentation and I would have to put my camera on and show you how I'm producing the sound, which is one of the big things that we're going to be doing in our sessions, because they have practiced the grammar structures and they probably already, will have less of an issue on answering with the appropriate structure, but the biggest challenge that we will have to work with them is on their pronunciation. Then we're going to explain where and how the sounds are produced. And this is something that we're going to learn today. And we're going to practice doing some mouth charts and using them to demonstrate our students where the sounds are produced. Okay, we're going to, then we have how to model. When we model, we are also going to start kind of having already a procedure so that the students know that they need to listen and then when they need to repeat, particularly in this type of settings where if not, everybody will repeat or not repeat it or, cut off the other person and that kind of thing. So we'll have to have a way to do it. And then we need to also repeat the model in a consistent way. And we will, I'm right now just kind of going about all the bullets, but we'll put it in practice. Repeat the model in a consistent way. And this is like when we're saying, for example, if we want to model to them how we would do the intonation of a question in English, where we don't do rising intonation, but we do falling intonation, then we would model what's her name, what's her name, what's her name. Not modeling in a consistent way would be what's her name, what's her name, what's her name. And all three times I did it with a different intonation, right? So we need to model in a consistent way. And then also we will use modeling to correct inaccurate responses. In such case, we need to help our students by saying their name, ask them to stop, model for them, they listen, and then we have them repeat, okay? And we can use their answers, their correct answers, as accurate responses for the class. Okay, so now I'm going to actually stop my camera, my presentation, because now I want to model this for you so that then also you can practice it, okay? And so look, take note of all of them. We're going to talk about project your voice, let your students see your real time, explain where the sounds are made, how to model, how to be consistent, how to work with inaccurate responses, and how to accept students' answers. Okay. Here I'm back. All right. Okay, so first I want to tell you this story. When my daughters were young, we went to violin lessons, and this there was this well, there's the violin teacher, right? And so one of the first things they taught us, because also moms were there learning, was to do the playing position and the resting position. So the resting position is with your violin like this, right? Like here. And then you have to do the playing position. And this is one of the first exercises they start teaching us. So the teacher is there with the students, teaching them, okay, playing position. And we all go like this, right? And then she would go, now, resting position, now playing position. And the playing position, you put your foot there and your violin, right? So, and your thing here. So, but she had long hair. So when she did playing position, she was like resting position, and then she would put her hair like this and do playing position. But then in this technique that she used, we would always play next to each other. So she would go rest position, but she was in the same line with everyone, not like in front, and then playing position. So anyway, so then there was the day where we were to give the recital, or the kids were to give the recital, and and so she said, okay, I'm going to see you how you do it. So she stand in front of the kids, and then she said to the kids, resting position, and then she said playing position, and then all the kids went, you know, and threw their hair, even though they didn't have necessarily long hair, because that was how she modeled for everyone. Okay. So modeling is super crucial, because our students are going to be watching us all the time, and they're going to do whatever we do almost exactly the same, even though, you know, in this case, it wasn't necessary to do your head like that, to do playing position. But anyway, so right now, then, for modeling, which is one of the big things we're going to do, show students how we produce the sounds in the target language. Project your voice. It's probably a good idea to wear your headset, you know, with your microphone. It projects the voice better in the in this situation. Okay. Then, as we said, we're going to let our students see us all the time. So if I'm producing, for example, the word three, I'm going to make sure my students are, that I'm not like, you know, looking at something else. Maybe I have the book here. Three, and they're not necessarily looking at how I am producing it. Or if I have my notes and I'm like three, then you're not watching my mouth. Okay, so that's one of the things we need to be very intentional about. Okay. Then it talks about explaining where the sounds are produced. One of in this first course that we're going to work with our students, the three main sounds that we need to be aware of is particularly that one that I just did, the and the because those sounds we don't use in Spanish, not like that. So students will tend to say tree instead of three. Okay. They will say that instead of that. So those are the sounds that we need to be aware of. And when you are listening to your students, and you're going to go, why does it sound weird? Okay, and it's because of those sounds. And also the other sound that they're going to have, they always have a hard time, is with the w, y. The students in Spanish speaking students, they will tend to say Jew, and they will tend to say jello, not yellow, and you. Okay. So that's another sound that we need to be aware of. I always tell them it's not the same to say my son is in jail than my son is in Yale, right? So the y sound is a sound that it's also has a lot of interference from our native language in Spanish. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to explain those sounds in a little bit. Okay, now we need to model in such a way that we also do it consistently. So say, for example, that we're going to model the colors. So I have a list of colors, for example, black, purple, white, yellow, brown, red, blue. Okay, so one of the things that you're going to do, as I mentioned, we need to make sure that our students, first of all, that our students know that we're about to model for them, okay? So we need to say, class, listen, okay? And we're going to start adding non-verbal conventions, which is, in this case, listen, 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 which this is a way that you're going to be able to also, without using Spanish, particularly if we don't know Spanish, help them follow you, okay? So you're going to say, class, and then call the attention, class, listen, listen, okay? And while you are modeling, you still are going to have your hand here so that they know that they're still listening, because they're going to, their first instinct is going to be to repeat immediately, okay? So unless you do want them to repeat immediately, then, you know, you do the gesture for repeating. But what we're going to do is, since we're going to practice pronunciation with them, you're going to know which are the words we're going to practice with them each week. But let's say for this example, we're going to use the colors. So we're going to say black, black, purple, 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 white, 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 yellow, 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 brown, 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 red, red, blue, blue, okay? So I did each one twice in a way that they see me and in a consistent way. A non-consistent way would be like black, black, purple, purple, white, white, yellow, yellow, brown, brown, red, red. You know what I'm obviously exaggerating, but it does happen, okay? So we need to be consistent in rhythm, in intonation, and everything. One thing that usually happens is that we go like, for example, black, black, purple, purple, white, white, yellow, yellow, brown, brown, red, red, blue, blue. Because we know we're about to finish, then we start kind of doing a little song to finish. You know what I'm saying? That's very common to see happening. So, or to do it, even expert teachers. Sometimes we do that. So we always need to be super aware of what we're doing. Okay. So model in a consistent way. We want to do every modeling, every utterance twice when we model, okay? Because usually, you know, and that's kind of how how the mind works. The first one is kind of like calling your attention, and then on the second one, you're more focused, okay? So we need to do at least twice each utterance, okay? So when we model, we do twice each one, okay? So that was our modeling. And then we're going to ask them to repeat, obviously, okay? And when we ask them to repeat, we are going to still model, but then have them repeat. So if I already modeled these words for them, now I'm going to say, okay, now listen and repeat, okay? So listen and repeat. And this is going to help you immensely because when you are with your students, later on, you will be able to say just like that, and they'll go, or like this, and sometimes you don't even have to say repeat, and they'll repeat. If you already start giving them these non-conventional commands, let's say, okay, or non-verbal commands. So now we're going to do listen and repeat, and this is how we would do it. And I want you to actually repeat, so you can turn on your microphones. It is more challenging, obviously, in this setting because not all connections are at the same time. So it's going to be, you probably are going to, if you have a big group, you're probably going to have to do small groups to do the repetition practice, if we need to do a repetition practice, so that we have them not, so we can listen actually to them. Or depending also on the size of the group, you could also do the modeling, give number them, and already go one by one. Either each person in a certain order does do the repetition, or we can do a list of words with each person and go about one by one. It would also depend on the size of the group and the whatever we are practicing. We'll talk about that when we have the contents for each class. But right now we're going to focus on the modeling techniques. Okay, so black, listen and repeat. Listen and repeat. Black.
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 Purple.
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 White.
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 Yellow.
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 Mm-hmm. Okay, brown.
Brown.
And let's say somebody at this point of time, instead of saying brown, say brown, like as if reading it in Spanish. And then I caught somebody and I said, and I thought it was Minor who said it. So then I would say, Minor, listen, brown. Minor, listen and repeat, brown.
Brown.
Excellent. Again?
Brown.
Very good. Everyone, all the class, brown. Perfect. Okay. So this is the technique that he was talking about in that document that I show you. That you will, as you work, like let's say, for example, I'm working any activity, and I say, what color is this? Katie, what color is this?
What did you say?
What color is this?
Brown.
It's brown.
It's brown.
Yes, thank you. And let's say that person didn't say it correctly, then that's when you would say, listen, brown. And then you ask that person to repeat brown. And then what it was saying there, accept your students' correct answers as models. Then you say everyone. And then that person is being the model for everyone, and you start kind of the rhythm of the class again when you ask everybody to repeat again, and then you can go with the next exercise. Okay, so that's how because we definitely need to, if we hear pronunciation mistake, we need to correct it. Okay, so the way to correct it is to stop, and obviously you're not going to say no 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 no. You say, okay, listen, Katie, listen, or Vivian, listen. Model, have that person repeat just in isolation. Praise, you say, yay, good job. Okay, that's super important, praising. That's another skill. And also in praising, you need to have in your mind different ways of praising. Sometimes, nice work, good job, excellent. To not sound robotic, right? Saying all the time the same thing. So you would say, great. And now, everyone. And this is another convention, right? When you say listen and repeat, is for one person, and this is everyone. Okay? When you start doing this, probably at the beginning, you're going to sound to feel weird, using like you're directing traffic or something, right? But it is super important, okay? Now, and we're going to practice this. We're going to go into break rooms, and you're going to practice this modeling to the people that are in your break room, okay? So we went through everything. So remember, project your voice, let your students see you, explain the sounds. We'll still go into that in a little bit. I'm going to show you how to do some mouth charts. Model in a consistent way, okay? What else did we say? Every utterance twice. Use nonverbal conventions. Listen, and repeat. Okay. Correct all mispronunciations, and obviously do it gently, with the person. And you say, for example, Hannah, listen. Okay. You don't have to say, no, no, no. You just say, wait, Hannah, listen. And then you model. And the person will know that you stopped her and you're pointing it out because she needs to correct it. Okay. And then accept the response for everyone. And that's how you recover, again, the rhythm of the class. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. So right there on a little piece of paper, write, we'll do five words. Okay, we'll do this these colors: black, purple, white, yellow, and brown. Black, purple, white, yellow, brown. And we're going to break rooms, and we'll probably just have, I don't know how many we are. How many are we right now in the
participants?
Okay,
including the two of us.
So I would say let's do 3 groups of 3. Okay, so that each one has to go, has to do it. Okay, so what are we going to do? First, you're going to model. So take turns, right? And the first one is you're going to model. So you're going to go, listen, black, black, purple, 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 white, white, yellow, yellow, brown, brown, Okay, this is the first part. Somebody says they can't use the microphone. Okay, well, participate in the session. If you have the camera, obviously we need to turn the cameras, right? If you don't have a microphone, well, do it without the microphone, but at least, get the experience of, okay, doing your directing traffic thing to get it out of the way, and feel comfortable. I know some of you are experienced teachers, but some are not. And so we need to still practice, okay? And then the next one will be listen and repeat. And so you'll say, listen and repeat, and ask the people in the group to work with you, okay? So you're going to say black, black, okay? When you want them to repeat, that's when you do this. One common mistake when we're first doing it is that we would say something like yellow, yellow. And we're saying it as we model it, and we confuse our students. It's amazing. I mean, really, students will be watching you and expecting you to give directions. So, be a good model. So yellow, and then you do the thing, not yellow, right? Because first of all, there, you couldn't even see my mouth because I was doing the gesture at the same time that I was, and then they're like, don't know when to get in, okay? So yellow, and then the gesture, yellow, okay? Get used to doing this, and it will help your students a lot, and it will help you keep the class in control. It's amazing, okay? And the third exercise is you're going to help a student that is not producing the sound correctly, okay? So we're going to, for example, in this case, a problematic word for sure for at least one of the students that you have, but you'll think of me when this happens, is that they're going to say jello, jello, okay? So one easy way to correct it, it's a little of phonology cheating that my dad, who was my teacher, wouldn't approve, but it's I mean, it really gets it there, is to tell them that to not say yellow, but say yellow. Here I'm putting it in the chat. Pronounce yellow, okay? Or they're going to say Jew, and you're going to say pronounce you. Okay, it's really not that sound. That's what I'm saying, that it's a little bit of cheating phonology because it's not really the I sound, but it's the closest, and it makes it so much better than jello or Jew, right? So you need to say yellow, yellow, you. Okay, you can use the board, you can use a real board like this, right? Where I would say, and one way that you can tell them is, this is pronunciation. When you put the slanted lines, it means that is how it's pronounced, not how it is written, but how it is pronounced. So you're going to say, pronounce like this, pronounce like this, yellow, yellow, okay? And that gets it through, super easy, okay? So the third exercise, when you're right now in the break room, will be that, to pick one of the other people that are with you in the little group, and produce specifically for that person the word. So one of you can mispronounce it, and the person modeling catches the mispronunciation, and then stops the class, right? Gently, not like stop, but gently. Wait, Andrea, listen. Yellow, with an E, yellow, no J, yellow. Andrea, listen, yellow. Listen and repeat, yellow. And then we have her repeat. And then once she does it correctly, she said, yes, perfect. Everyone, yellow. Okay? So let's go do that. Sometimes it looks easier than it is, or sometimes it looks harder than it actually is. So, but we won't know until we give it a try. All right? We'll learn now a little bit about phonology. So phonology is the study of sounds, and the biggest thing why people cannot produce a sound is because they cannot identify or hear the sound. In linguistic or phonology, well, linguistic terms, we call that discrimination of a sound. And I always tell students that only in phonology is it cool to discriminate, right? And what that is to be able to point out the sound. And for example, for Linda, that her native language is German, she has certain sounds that she would have a hard time producing in English or Spanish. We would have a hard time producing certain sounds in German and certain sounds in English, right? So anyway, so this sound, this particular sound, the v or the f, is a sound that we don't use in Spanish. So sometimes we cannot necessarily hear the difference, particularly in the v, when we say they or they, that, those. For Spanish speakers, we probably, if we have not trained our ears for speaking English and trying to produce that sound correctly, we might say it the same. Give me a dose of medicine, and it's or give me a well, that one actually was correct. Or those pants are nice instead of those, right? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you a mouth chart, because when we study phonology, we won't go through the whole course here, but with our when we do the teacher training, the full teacher training, we go through the whole phonology program. And we study each, Maria Teresa remembers that, right? We go through each sound and how each sound, each consonant sound of the English language is produced, and how each sound of the vowel sounds are produced. In English, we have 14 vowel sounds, while in Spanish, we only have 5 vowel sounds. We have the same 5 vowel letters in both languages, but the sounds there, or like in German, like when if you put the umlaut and whatever, and then it changes the sound, and right? And there's so many more sounds for vowels. In Spanish, we only have 5 sounds. So then it makes it hard for students. Well, we'll show you other ones in the next session that are challenging. Like, for example, when we say, we tend to say for the animal, we don't say sheep, we say ship, like the boat, because we don't have the difference between those two sounds. But anyway, okay, so I'm going to share my screen and show you this mouth chart that can help you with your students. Okay, this is the sound when we say 3. This is the sound. And how this is as if you have the section of the mouth, like cut, you know, like seen from the side with no cheeks, obviously, right? So we are pointing out to the students, and this is when we're saying that in modeling, we want to also explain how the sound is produced, because if we're not trained to do this, then we probably would just kind of say the word again and again, or maybe even louder for them to produce it, but we're not explaining them how to produce it. So the way to explain this sound is to show them that the tongue is in the middle of the teeth, okay? And the sound will be produced. These little lines that are down here mean, what they tell us is that this is a voiceless sound. So it's a sound where the vocal cords do not vibrate. So if you put your hands, put your hand on your neck, kind of like a little bit around your neck, and say the sound, that's in 3, 3, or thing, think, think, okay, are also sounds that if you hear Spanish speaking persons that have not had good models like you, they might say, I have a thing to say, or something, or I think, right? So we need to tell them, say, okay. So if you did put your hand around your neck, you will notice that there was no vibration. Now let's do this other sound. This is the same position of the tongue between the teeth, and the definition of a consonant is a sound that is produced with the articulators coming in a partial or complete blockage of the voice. So here, how each sound is produced is that we're trying to throw air out, let's say, and the articulators, which are the teeth, the velum, the alveolar ridge, the palatal, the tongue, stop that sound. So here we're going to say as in they, them, those, that. Now put your hand around your neck and say that, those, them. And you'll notice that the vocal cords vibrated. So what is the difference between one sound and the other? The tongue position and the articulators are in the same position, but the difference is vibration or not vibration of the vocal cords. That, those, you can feel the vibration if you have your hand on your, around your neck, okay? So this is one sound that we're going to need to explain to them in that first, in the first 2 weeks. That one, and you, for yellow, for you, they're going to say, what's your name? Instead of what's your name. And so I'm going to take off my screen, or let's do something. I want you to, well, I will take off my screen. Wait a second. Now I want you to grab a little piece of paper, and we're going to try to do our mouth chart. You can use the mouth chart or not. This is also for your own knowledge and to know that each sound in your language, in English and in all languages, can be drawn, you know? And if you know how to do it, it'll be so much easier to show your students, okay, how to produce it. So what we're going to do is grab a piece of paper and we're going to draw our mouth chart. For some of you, it might be your first mouth chart you've ever done of a sound. That's so exciting. I'm going to be the person to guide you through that. I don't have my, where's my? I'm going to erase with this because I can't find. Okay. So, say a student said a ting, then you're going to say, remember, the teeth, and you show them the tongue between your teeth. Look, and then you do the teeth, and then you have a little bump behind your teeth. Feel it with your tongue. That's called the alveolar ridge. Then you have, well, the mouth. Then this, we do a little like this because this is the glottis. Like, for example, we don't have in Spanish, we don't have glottal sounds. So as the French, and I think the German do too, that they have more glottal sounds that are done back here, like, right? So we have a hard time producing those sounds. Okay? And then the tongue, the teeth, and the lips. And here's our sound. And you notice there were some phonetic symbols. This symbol is for, no, I mean for, as in 3. Voiceless, and this is the symbol. So go ahead and do your mouth chart. I mean, we could go on forever on phonology. The articulators are the lip. I mean, the different articulators that we can use to produce a sound are lips, teeth, alveolar ridge, palate, velum, glottis, and tongue. Okay, show me your mouth charts. I want to see your mouth charts. All right, good job. Great, okay. That's a good first mouth chart. Good job, Penelope.
Thank you.
Majo, great job. Linda.
Thank you.
All right, very good, Maria Teresa. Okay, and how is the sound when we say that? How is going to be our sound? The difference is going to be that it's voiced and our symbol is like this. So it's the same mouth chart, but it's vibration of the vocal cords. Were you able to feel the vibration? Did you tell? Another way to feel the vibration is also by covering your ears when you produce the sound.
When I do that with my students, just like Aníbal told us so many years ago, in my classrooms, they never like to do this.
Exactly.
Also, when I explain the sound of the ED endings and all that, they don't, and I keep telling them, just give it a try and just they don't want to touch
They're
their
like, like they probably don't realize, well, what is this? You know, what does it
Yeah.
have to do? I'm putting the sound here, but you can tell. But you're right. You're right. It happens.
takes a long time for them to do it.
To realize that it's an important input.
Yeah.
Very good. So today we learned two sounds. In the next sessions, I'll show you other sounds that are difficult. Like for example, the v and the b is another sound that we do not discriminate. The Spanish speakers, we do not discriminate.
Another sound that I have a problem with the beginners is when they are using the contraction of I am. Okay, especially when you start teaching the progressive, they tend to forget. You know, they just say I working, and I have to keep repeating, I'm. They don't close their mouth enough, so it doesn't sound. So that's another thing we have to.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you for saying that, because yes, we need to, the more we know, then we start looking for it, you know, because that's another thing of the language teacher. We start training our ear. At the beginning, when we start teaching, everybody says something and we cannot pinpoint who's saying it incorrectly. But then we get great at it. We already hear every mistake.
We get to know who is speaking by the sound of their voices also. So we know their names by.
Exactly. Very good. All right. So that was some learning and some practicing today. So we're done. I think we ran out of time, but I think we were able to.